Hey, what is happening, Cowboys Nation? And welcome to Friday night after what was somewhat of a. I'm super torn about this 28-23 loss to the Eagles. They There was so much good. We have some bad to talk about. It wasn't a loss that was easy to take,
Yeah,
but there was a lot of good things that came out of it also.
there was positives. The way the offense, the way Dak Prescott played, the way CeeDee Lamb has continued to play. It gives you a lot of encouragement for this offense, and the way it had been going to start the year, it wasn't great. There was a lot of complaints, there was a lot of issues. I had a lot of issues with how the offense was functioning and how the plays were being called. The last couple weeks has been really a lot better, and then it continued against the Eagles. But there were some things that didn't shake out our way, to be honest with you, and there was definitely some concerns. So let's give me some of your concerns that you had coming out of that game.
Terrence Steele. Terrence Steele. And I don't know if that knee is bothering him or there. You know what? We also have to be realistic. We have now, this was the ninth game of the season they played. All players have some kind of injury, something bruise bothering them by this point in time. Was it the
Mm-hmm.
knee? Is it something else? Um, you know, you have to question, did they rush him back? Is it him just not being solid on that knee? But then when I rewatched the game, his hand placement was wrong to me. He was getting spun really easily. Things that
Mm-hmm.
we did not see early on with Terrence that we are seeing now. So there was concerns with that. That has to be my biggest concern at this point in time, because I know a lot of people have already seen it, said it, but the Chaz Green thing popped into my head
Yeah.
when things were starting to go that way. And so that's my biggest thing. And I do think that his performance affected Zach Martin, because that was somewhat of out of character with Zach Martin. Then, we'll get into it, because this is one thing I would like to talk about a little bit later is Tyler Biotish and
Mm-hmm.
how I think, but we'll talk about that because I think there's some matchups that with this Giants game I'd like to
Yeah.
talk about with him on.
Yeah, I think you're right, Terrence Steele. That's the big concern. It's kind of been a concern for most of the season, but it just really blew up in that game. Um, Tyler Biotish didn't have a great game, like you said, so I think that affects Zach Martin. With I don't know if Zach Martin's confident in the guys next to him on either side. I don't think Terrence Steele is confident in his knee. He's getting beat really quickly. And like I said, his hand placement wasn't great. He has given up 28 pressures on the season, 12 of them coming against the Eagles, 12 in one game. That's a ton of pressures to allow in one game. And then 4 sacks, of course, he allowed.
Right.
Um, just you can't have that. And there were so many times on big critical plays, and it's never good to allow the pressure. It's never good to allow the sack. But it seems like, in my opinion, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but it seems like, in my opinion, when the stakes are at the highest, when it's the biggest moment of the game, that's when Terrence Steele usually gives up a bad play. Like, that's
Yeah,
what
I can
I
agree with that.
noticed in the original, in the live watch and in the rewatch. It's like, man, huge third down. Oh, fourth down. Oh, we need this fourth and goal. Like, Terrence still gets beat, and it's like everybody's stepping up except him, unfortunately. And so that's concerning. That's definitely concerning, especially moving forward when you have bigger games down the line during the end of the season. There's some big games coming up at the end of the season where you're going to need him to play well. Hopefully that needs continues to feel better. Hopefully he gets some confidence back. But that I agree, that was definitely an issue. On the other side of the ball, one of the big issues that I saw is Jordan Lewis. I mean, same thing.
Hmm.
Season-ending injury last year, came back. He wasn't. I don't necessarily think he was rushed back. He missed all of camp, came back in the season. But man, Eagles were picking on him. They were just looking for him. Okay, who is Jordan Lewis covering over the middle? And that's where we're going. Oh, third down. Okay, where's Jordan Lewis? That's where we're going. and he was giving up some big plays. The defense played overall well, except there were times where we didn't get any pressure, and that's typical of the Eagles' offensive line. They have a great offensive line, but we struggled to get pressure at times in the game. But Jordan Lewis, he's an issue on defense, in my opinion. He's the big issue on defense.
Right. And this is something I'd like to talk about a little bit later, but this game coming up, I almost wonder if this isn't an opportunity to try Izzy or Wanye Thomas in that slot corner position and see, because
Yeah, I honestly thought Izzy was going to get more playing time this year because of his performance at the end of the year last year, and especially his performance in the playoffs last year. And it just never happened. He didn't have a spectacular camp. He didn't really break out and show anything in the preseason, and he just really hasn't played that much. Wanye Thomas, on the other hand, started the season on fire and then just disappeared on the bench. And I don't know if that's him or if it's just their rotation that they're choosing
or
to
matchups,
do.
like matchups.
Yeah,
that
maybe, but I think
or,
Wanye
I don't
Thomas
know.
might be able to do something in the slot, but we need to figure out something with Jordan Lewis because he's not working. He's not it.
Right.
And I said this on a space that I did. I was on after the game, an X space, Twitter space, whatever you want to call it, that this game was the first real time. I mean, maybe not the first time because obviously the 49ers game, but this game was so big of like, wow, we really missed Diggs. And it wasn't because of Bland. I thought Bland had a great game. I thought Gilmore had a really good game. It was because Bland wasn't able to play in the slot and Jordan Lewis was on the field and getting eaten up.
Right.
And that is where I was like, man, we really miss Diggs because that pushes Bland back into the slot and he's great. So like it hurts, but we're past the trade deadline. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing really we can do at right tackle.
There's no one out
really
there.
Do a cornerback. So
yeah, there's no one sitting out there that we could bring in.
Yeah, we kind of got to live with what we have right now.
Right.
And after that game, it's like I mean, I think it could be, but it does make you raise the question is, do we have the roster to get it done?
Right.
I don't disagree with this. I do not disagree with this.
I do, but at this point in time, I can't move him out of the outside.
Yeah, you can't move him off the outside.
I can't even consider it right now.
Because
what's your other option? Nashawn or Nashawn Wright? No.
You're not putting Jordan Lewis on the outside. I'm not putting Nashawn Wright out there.
No. Yeah.
I mean, there's nobody else, unfortunately. So, yeah, I agree that Bland is one of the best slots in the NFL. He's one of the best outside corners in the NFL. But
what I hear, he's ranked like 5th right now.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean that's a blessing to have lost Diggs and your backups come in and now he's ranked at 5th. So Falcon. I would have loved to have traded for Johnson, and we could have.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. On the other side of the ball, it's really hard for me to pick one. I have a shout out to Tyron Smith. Holy cow. Fantastic. Amazing game out of him. Absolutely amazing. Dak, I heard a couple people try and say that was a really bad game from Dak, and I don't know how when somebody passes for 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 115.2 passer rating, you can say much besides him stepping out of bounds, that you can say much about his performance. But Mass, one of our bold predictions came true.
It did.
It did. I predicted that CeeDee Lamb would have more than 175 yards.
And I thought that was a really bold prediction.
You
but
did.
He went and got it.
He even got me a couple extra on top of it. He said, bet 16 more on top of it. Let's go.
Yeah.
So
I came very, very close to my bold prediction.
You did.
That's facts right there. 100% facts right there. I came close. My bold prediction was that the Cowboys defense would hold AJ Brown under 60 yards. He got what, 61 or something, like 63 or something like that.
66,
So it was in the
66? Oh,
60s. So
yeah,
yeah,
you were close.
it was crazy close, and so I was right there. But going back to the Tyron Smith comment, yes, he's missed some games and everything like that. That stinks. But when he's out there, he is arguably the best tackle in NFL right now. He is playing fantastic. There is a chart I was looking at just the other day or yesterday, and it's literally said that he has the fourth most difficult assignments in the NFL. Like his pass blocking grade is supposed to be like, just based on who he's going up against, is supposed to be like the fourth lowest. It doesn't take into effect. It doesn't take into how he's playing, but just based on who he's going after, it's supposed to be the fourth lowest, and he is number one, like the number one tackle. He has just played fantastic when he is out there. He had another fantastic game. Like Falcon, I think it's Falcon. He said Dak has been playing at an MVP level since and over the last 3 weeks. Since that 49ers game, he has. He's been playing an MVP. He's been unbelievable.
He has.
And
right now, his passer rating he is the highest passer rating on 3rd and 4th downs in the league at 116.4.
Okay. Yes. And I know Dak has been fantastic. I think he should have had better stats, in my opinion, based on the play. I'm not saying, he should have played better. I'm saying he should have had those better stats, but some things were taken away from him. And one of them, in my opinion, was a touchdown. Now everybody is going to go back and forth on that, and look, I don't want to get into the officiating. I don't want to. We can all point fingers at the officials and say bad things. This isn't even about officiating. This is more about the rules. And I was a little bit confused, and I know a lot of people were this last week after the game. And Chris Sims is actually the one that pointed it out on Twitter, and I saw. So I just want to get your thoughts on it and what you think, and how the NFL needs to address this, because it's something that I don't think happens very often. It's probably something they haven't even really thought of. The Dak pass on 4th and goal to Schumacher, he catches it, knee down. Yes, every angle, I'm 100% with you. Knees down, the ball is a half yard short, or maybe even less than a half yard short, like inches short of the goal line. He was short with his knee down. The question gets raised, that Chris Sim raised, is that according to NFL rules, if you are going to the ground, the catch is not complete until you maintain control through the ground. So if he's going to the ground there, it's not a catch until he maintains possession to the ground. How is his forward progress then stopped when his knee hits and he hasn't finished going to the ground? Because we all know if his knee hadn't have hit and he hit the ground and the ball came loose, they would rule it not a catch. So where's the discrepancy? Why isn't it that Schumacher was allowed to go to the ground? Because when he hit the ground, the ball was across the goal line. When his chest hit the ground, ball was across the goal line. He maintained possession. So what, in your opinion, is the fix to that? And the league has to address it.
So it wasn't like he turned and became a runner.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. It was not that he turned and became a runner and that he was hit that changed the trajectory he was going in it all. So I honestly feel that once he had possession and he did get into the end zone, because it's like I said, he's not a runner. That is where it is. So they're going to have to become more consistent with these kind of things. Is that a football move? Whatever. They're going to have to make that more clear. And I can get on my soapbox about how I don't feel that NFL referees should be part-time employees. The NFL can afford to pay these men full-time wages. These are their jobs. They're under discretion to be critiqued of their performance each game, because it has gotten to be very problematic, I would say, across the league. But on that, I truly believe that he wasn't a runner. It wasn't like he was turning to go upfield and that somebody else changed his progress and that possession was there once he came down. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's just my big thing, because we know, like I said, if he kept his knee off the ground for long enough to get into the end zone, but because he's falling, he hits the ground and that ball comes loose. They're calling it an incomplete
As
pass.
he's being pushed, let's call it.
Yes.
He was being pushed before he even caught the ball, but we digress.
But like, he hits the ground, the ball comes loose. That's an incomplete pass. They're calling it incomplete every time. So if he can't if he can't get possession and actually finish the actions of a catch until he hits the ground, then his forward progress should not be stopped until that point. And if that's the case, he's in the end zone and it's a touchdown. And it completely changes the game. And I'm not blaming that on refs, because that wasn't the refs on the field call. That was a review in New York. So I'm not saying, hey, that's the refs. The refs screw. I'm just saying the NFL needs to realize that there is a loophole and there is a big discrepancy. Now, I get it, that play doesn't happen a lot, but there is that discrepancy that probably needs to be closed, and the competition committee should review that this coming off season. Doubt they will, but that's just something that came up. Okay. So let's get some final thoughts on the game. Yes, it stinks, but just wash it away. Final thoughts, and then we're done with that game.
I think that the gameplay was great. I absolutely loved that we somewhat abandoned the run and passed because it worked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and thank you, that we didn't feel like we had to run, pass. So I think that was absolutely fantastic. I believe that pretty much on every single level that our team played better than theirs. And we just had some the way the ball bounced literally affected things.
Three fumbles by them. All of three of those fumbles just bounced right back into their people's hands. Like, it's
right.
Yeah. It's frustrating. So yeah, I feel the same way. Like, I don't feel like the Eagles are crazy better than us. I think the game was close, and some things didn't go our way, things didn't bounce our way, they bounced the Eagles' way, and that's kind of how football is at times. But I do feel comfortable that, hey, we can play with this team and we can beat this team, and I expect us, like I've said for my predictions throughout the year, that I believe that we would split with the Eagles. They got the first one. I think we can beat them at home when we see them in December. So that's where we're going to go. We'll see them in December in Dallas, and we'll go from there. Okay, so moving on. This week, the Dallas Cowboys get to play Mr. Tommy DeVito and the New York Giants or New Jersey Giants, as Daniel Jones, unfortunately, I don't wish injury on anybody. I don't celebrate any injury at all. Daniel Jones, unfortunately, tore his ACL. He's out for a year. Tyron Taylor, he's also injured. He is out. So it's to Tommy DeVito. And let's get into an offensive defense and kind of break down, the matchups and where we can see advantages. I know you had something you already wanted to mention with the offense and Tyler Biadasz. Let's start there with the Cowboys offense and the Giants defense. Let me give me your thoughts.
So one of my biggest things is it would have been a much bigger concern to me with having Dexter Lawrence across from Tyler Biadasz, because we saw Tyler progress, and we've seen him progress, and now I think we've kind of flatlined with him.
Yeah.
And I think I probably would have been, like I said, much more concerned about him being across from Dexter Lawrence. But after watching this game and then the game before, having Leonard Williams gone is affecting Dexter in his performance. And I didn't see a lot of the Dexter that we know. Now, is that because Leonard is gone? Is that because has he checked out and he's like, this team's crap and I'm going to skate through at this point? So that's a matchup that I think I probably would have been more worried about. But we do still need to have that solid game from Biadasz, because we know what how disruptive Dexter Lawrence can be.
Yeah, and he's always struggled with Biotis has always struggled with powers, and Dexter Lawrence can bring a lot of power. He can bring that power rush. But that is interesting to say, like, hey, he's he hasn't been as effective since Williams left, and you're like, is it more because he's getting more double team more, or like you said, like, does he just been like, whatever, like I don't care anymore. This team is whatever. We saw that from different people. We saw that in Washington with Jonathan Allen. I was thinking Deron Payne, but it was Jonathan Allen that said it.
Yeah.
Just like you could see he's checked out. He's like, whatever, I'm tired of this,
Yeah,
So I wonder if
my
that's
paycheck.
Exactly. So I'm kind of wondering, is Dexter Lawrence thinking the same way? Because they've struggled. They have struggled this year. And, you look at some of the matchups and, man, I don't see how they can stop this Cowboys passing attack. The way it has played the last 3 weeks, the way CeeDee Lamb and Dak are connecting, the way Dak and Jake Ferguson are connecting. I don't see it. How do the Giants stop this?
Adoree Jackson's out. And here's this thing, I have complete confidence that CeeDee is going to have a great game. The way he has picked up the last couple of weeks since they finally have started to get him the ball. But this is one that I foresee Brandon Cooks. This could be the game that they finally get Brandon Cooks back in. So
yeah. We both hit it.
Right?
So yeah, definitely think that this could be a Brandon Cooks game, because teams are going to start seeing like, oh man, CeeDee Lamb is killing us. He's dominating us. We need to bracket him more. We need to send more attention over to him. So then in that case, you're going to have guys like Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup step up a little bit. Honestly, we talked about this last week on the show. I want to see a little bit less of Gallup, and I want to see a little bit more of Tolbert, and definitely some more of Turpin, because
but we're not sure Turpin's going to be in.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
Because Deuce Vaughn was taking kickoff practice, and I believe that I'm not sure if he was do not practice or he was limited in today's report. So
I'll have to look at that. Yeah. But I just want to see them get some more opportunities, because look, I was a doubter I always wanted Turpin on this team. I thought because of his special teams ability, I think we talked about that at the beginning of the year, but I was a doubter on how much of an impact he could have on this offense. And he's proving me wrong. He's showing me that, hey, he could be a reliable receiver. I'm not saying he's going to be a number one, but he could be a reliable receiver to make some plays, and he has made some plays in the passing game. So that's something when he's healthy, obviously, get him some more touches, get Tolbert some more touches, and they're going to have to, all these guys are going to have to step up, because there's going to be a game down the line where teams are just going to throw everything they can to stop CeeDee Lamb. And can they? I don't know.
The Miami game. Miami game.
Yes.
That's those two outside corners they have there. I know Ramsey's not what he used to be, but that's some good corners they've got there.
Yeah.
So
absolutely can still make plays. So let me ask you this, what do you think is the issue with the run game right now? Is it just a lack of blocking? Is it a lack of running? Tony Pollard's not as good as we thought he was, or he's struggling in this role. What are your thoughts here?
So I almost feel like this is a situation. We know that there's been problems with the offensive line, and that's been part of our problem with the run game. I also feel like they are trying to use Tony Pollard as a downhill kind of guy every single play, when I almost feel like, and I'm not saying that Tony's not an RB1 by any means, but I also feel like they have him on an island as a man of one, when you have Rico Dowdle, you have Hunter Luepke, that could be those power backs that we need, and you just aren't utilizing them like you should. And so they're trying to make Tony carry everything. when it should be almost more running back by committee at this point in time with the three of them that they have.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And like you said, the blocking has been suspect. We know that Terrence Steele has struggled. He hasn't returned to his form of even run blocking that he was prior to his injury. Biotish is really struggling to get any push in the middle. And, Tyler Smith has been great. Tyron Smith has been great when he's in, but hasn't been on all the time. Zach Martin's been great, but it just hasn't generated that push. And I do want to talk to you and raise this thing because I want to get your thoughts on it, because I saw a tweet from Not to Be Trite. If you follow Cowboys Twitter, you know who Not to Be Trite is. If you don't follow him, you need to follow him.
Follow him for puppy pictures, barbecue advice, and a little
Dallas
bit
Cowboys.
of smart ass. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly.
But he mentioned during the game that he was thinking it's not necessarily about Tony Pollard's injury. It's not necessarily that he can't be a number one running back, but maybe a little bit of effort on the part. It's a lack of effort on the part of Tony Pollard. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even catch that. And then you had that play where it was kind of later in the game and it was a pull, and Tyron Smith pulled, and he was the lead blocker. And this play should have gone for a minimum 15 yards. Tyron Smith was out in front of him like a bulldozer, and a guy came running, sprinted, got in behind Tyron where Tyron was blocking, and dove and kind of barely pushed Tony, and it pushed him off his course, and he ran out of bounds, and it went for like 4 yards. And you're like, everybody blew up on Twitter about it. I was going crazy. Like, that push should not have pushed him out of bounds. Should not have. He should have been able to run through that. And then after that, Tony made like 3 really good, hard, strong runs, like where he broke tackles and ran hard. And I was like, wow, those are the best runs I've seen from Pollard in weeks. And I'm wondering if somebody on the sideline got in his ass about being just touched out of bounds.
I hope so. I
hope so. And if it is an effort thing and someone got in his ass about it, like, I hope it turned him around, because he had some decent runs after that. But it perked my interest when he said that. And then I saw that run. And then afterwards, he started to really hit the holes hard. And I was like, okay, maybe it was an effort thing. Hopefully somebody got in his ass about that play, because that should have been a big gain, and it wasn't. And then he had some good runs after that. So, that's something I'm going to keep an eye on this week against the Giants and see how hard Tony Pollard is running.
And I'd like to talk to that person and see if they're the same person that after we saw Rico Dowdle have that amazing run, bounce off, put the extra effort in, and then I don't know if he got the ball again the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, why? I need some answers.
Yeah.
I need some answers, please.
Yeah. And it's not a knock on Tony Pollard.
No.
Saying that Rico Dowdle needs more carries. Rico Dowdle has shown something in his carries. And so I think he just needs to be looked at. Short yardage, I'm a huge fan of Hunter Luepke, sorry. And so I think he can get short yardage carries. Throw him in at fullback. Let him be a lead blocker or something. I know, like, for whatever reason, we're not using him as a lead blocker. I've seen him do it. He has the ability. Give the guy a chance. Let's see what happens. So actually, we'll get in that a little bit later. Let's go with the Cowboys defense, Giants offense. What are some matchups you're looking forward to? What are some things you're focusing on that matchup?
Well, I mean, bless little Tommy DeVito's heart with Tank. I mean, so is it, I mean, it's just not even going to be good. It's really not going to be good.
It's not.
It's going to be Tank on one side and it's going to be Micah on the other. And
it's going to be ugly.
Yeah. You know, like you mentioned what happened to Tommy DeVito.
I'm going to tell you, if you didn't know already, Tommy DeVito is the name of Joe Pesci's character in the movie Goodfellas. And I'm telling you right now, the Giants, Tommy DeVito is going to get whacked just like Joe
Just
Pesci
like
got in that movie. Like, it's
right.
going to be bad. It's going to
Yeah.
be ugly. And sadly, I think he doesn't see it coming, just like poor Joe Pesci didn't see it coming in the Goodfellas. So
Yeah.
it's going to be ugly, people. It's
Yeah.
going to be ugly.
Yeah, because Evan Neal is out. Is that correct? So
Yeah, that might be
that's
good
going to
for
put
them.
Tyre Phillips in there. I guess, I mean, we're going to need to stop Saquon because it's going to be
Yes.
normal Saquon fashion. He's going to get 3 yards. He's going to get 4 yards. He's going to get 5 yards. He's going to crack one off for 24 yards. Normal Saquon. I'm kind of looking forward to how our corners are going to stop Jalen Hyatt, assuming that Tommy's going to be able to get the ball off to him.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, this is really a lopsided matchup between our defense and their offense. Like really, really lopsided, that I truly don't feel like they score any points until we possibly are in garbage time.
Yeah, like they did last week against the Raiders. And
Yeah.
and here's the thing, you're going to have that, and this is
Yeah, I
this
was
is
about to
they got some
bring it up.
holograms playing. Cowboys can jump out to a lead on this game, which limits Saquon Barkley in the run game, which forces Tommy DeVito to throw the ball, which equals Deron Bland pick 6. I'm just saying it right now. I'm not even using that as my bold prediction, because I don't think it is a bold prediction to say
Right.
Bland gets a pick 6 in this game, courtesy of Danny DeVito. So, like that, I just, it's going to be a rough, long game. Micah Parsons, Torrance Armstrong, DeMarcus Lawrence, Osa Adigizua, they're going to eat.
Right.
And they're going to eat well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think they have any matchup advantage here at all?
No.
Saquon coming out of the backfield, catching the ball, maybe?
Saquon, Darius Slayton, no. Wan'Dale Robinson, no. Jalen Hyatt, no. Daniel Bellinger. Oh, because Waller's on IR.
That's even worse.
I was about to say, who's Daniel Bellinger? Where's Waller? But I guess he's on IR.
You know what's so funny about that, as you say that, is because before the season started, in the offseason, before they went out and traded for Waller, Giants fans were so high on Daniel Bellinger. They were so high that this guy was going to be the next great tight end. Yeah, let's see.
Well, here's his chance.
Let me pull it up. For the year, he has 7 catches, 65 yards.
Perfect. Yeah, this is a very, very
the only person that could do anything
offense.
last year. The only person that could do anything in week 1 against us was Darren Waller.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only person that could do anything, and he's out. I get it, Jalen Hyatt, that was his first game of his career against us. So, maybe he does a little bit more. He's had some I don't even want to say decent. He had 1 game over, 2 games over 60 yards, 2 games. But he's just a deep threat who, hey, go run as far and as fast as you can, and hopefully we can get the ball down to you. That's what he does.
Yeah. This offense has 7 guys on IR right now. 7. It has not been a kind year to them.
I'm actually looking at this, and I'm looking at their injuries, and I'm listening to them, and then I'm going to look at their remaining schedule, and I'm looking, and I'm freaking out, Cam. I'm freaking out, and I think you know why I'm freaking out right now. There's no way I'm allowing Caleb Williams to go to the New York Giants.
That's what I was about to say.
There's no way. This team is going to compete for the number 1 pick. There's no way.
Have it right now?
Huh?
Don't they have it right now? Don't they have
No,
the
the
number one?
Panthers still have it.
Do they?
The Panthers have only won one game, and
Okay.
let's look at the standings. Okay, so we'll pull up the entire league standings. Um, the Panthers are 1-8. The
I
Cardinals are
know.
1-8.
Were their only win. It's a lovely day in the neighborhood.
The New York Giants and the New England Patriots are both 2-7. How did we lose to the Cardinals? Like, I know the show isn't about the Cardinals game, but holy hell, man,
I don't know. They get the Keebler Elf back this weekend.
they just have our number somehow, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
It bugs me.
Yeah, they did it. Yeah. And they did it
Yeah.
without the Keebler Elf.
Yeah, they did. Well, they did it with the GOAT, Josh Dobbs. That's what they did.
Right.
So,
And you go do your job up there with the Vikings, brother.
yes.
I mean, what a performance. The guy doesn't even know their plays.
Literally.
Doesn't know their snap count. Doesn't know anything. But he is a rocket scientist.
Yes.
So
And he was just going to go. He was just going to sit on the bench and watch them play. And then the guy gets hurt. And they're like, hey, go in there. And he's like, oh, me?
Okay.
Like, what? All right. Whatever.
Okay.
Let's go win this game.
Right. And he
done.
does.
Yeah.
Good
So
for him.
credit to Josh Dobbs out there. I'm actually a fan of Josh Dobbs. He actually played us very well last year with the Titans. Almost upset us when he was with the Titans, and then he does upset us with the Cardinals. He goes into Minnesota, pulls off a big upset, a big win for them as well. So hope the best for him, as long as it's not the Dallas Cowboys he's playing.
Right.
But yeah, their offense, I just don't really see. I don't see how they can threaten our defense. Unless our defense just does another Arizona game where they're just like, we're not taking them seriously. We're not even caring. And then they come out but I think this offense is worse than Arizona's offense. Like Arizona has
do not
really
see
good.
this as a trap game by any means.
I don't either. But like Arizona at least
had
a good offensive line. They
right.
had a good running game. They had a good offensive line. Decent
They've
defense.
got a fair lead secondary,
Yeah. But man, this offense is worse than what it was in Arizona. So like, I just don't see how this offense, led by Tommy DeVito, could threaten our defense. Now I say that, and I might need to knock on some wood here.
Right.
But I'm struggling. And this is what scares me, is because I said a lot of the same stuff when we're going up against Arizona. But like, I'm struggling to find where they can match up on their offense and our defense. I'm just not seeing it. Dak should be able to sit back in a clean pocket. And another thing about Dak playing at MVP level started when he started using his legs again, people.
Mm-hmm.
It started when he started using his legs again, getting out of the pocket, running for those those first downs, moving the pocket, getting out, buying his receivers more time, buying Lamb the ability to improvise. That's when he started to play his best game again. And we hadn't seen that since the calf injury in 2021? Yeah.
Yeah. No, 2020.
So,
2021.
2020 was the
leg
ankle.
Was the break.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen that since that time. So I'm looking forward to more of it. I don't know how much he'll need it this week. I think he'll be able to really sit comfortable most of the time, pick apart that secondary, let CeeDee Lamb do his thing, let my guy Fergalicious do his thing, becoming one of the best tight ends in the league overall. Solid blocker, solid receiver, making plays. Dak, you could see the confidence in him and Dak. And I had some people I've been saying, Cam, I've been high on Ferguson since we drafted him.
Oh, yeah.
I've been saying for a while he has the potential to be one of top 10 tight end in the league. A lot of people had been disagreeing with me, saying a lot of things like they didn't agree with me. They thought Schoonmaker was already a better tight end than him. And I got a lot of apology tweets and DMs this week. A lot of apologies. And
Good.
Look, I don't need it. Like, just get on the train with me. Get on that Ferg train with me. I don't need any apologies or anything like that. Just get on the train with me. This guy is a good tight end. Absolutely. So I think we roll. I think we roll him like we did week 1. I really do.
So do I. Like I said, the only points they score is in garbage time.
Okay. So let's start getting into a little bit of our estimations, our predictions on star
Well,
players.
let me ask you
Yep.
something
Go
real
ahead.
quick before we do that. So it's kind of come out like the new plan for Tyron Smith is he's just not going to practice. He doesn't need practice. We know he doesn't need practice. There's no reason for him. He needs to be there through the walkthroughs and things like that. But does he need to be doing any of the drills, anything like that?
He just went up against.
No.
He just didn't practice the entire week, and just went up against one of the toughest pass rushes in the NFL and completely dominated him.
Yeah.
Put this man on ice,
He
wrap
gets
him
a
in
hall
some bubble
pass
wrap,
for the whole week.
wrap him in some bubble wraps, schedule him massages throughout the entire week. Like,
Yeah.
just take care of him. Let him take care of his body. Get him a dietitian. Let him do his yoga because he's a big yoga guy. Let him just relax. Don't touch him during the week. Put him in uniform on Sunday and let him dominate. I
Right.
do not care. I do not think this guy needs to be taking any more wear and tear on that body than absolutely needs to be.
I
And that's
think his
only on
last two
Sundays.
injuries have happened during practice.
They have. Absolutely. They have.
Just don't
Just
do that.
don't even worry about that. Let
Don't
that
do
big
it.
man keep his body warm. Let him do his exercises. Let him do the
Mhm.
cardio, muscle massages, icing, all that. Keep that body in tip-top shape. Throw him out there on Sunday to do the damage. It worked. I think that could work for the rest of the year.
Let me ask you this. If you had to give a grade for this season up to this point, what is your mid-term grade for this team?
I'm going to go with a B minus. And I'm going to say B minus because the Arizona game obviously knocks you down.
Right.
Okay, that takes you down. And the other thing is that we've beaten up on a lot of bad teams, and we've played two good teams. One, the 49ers, who absolutely trounced us, and then two, the Philadelphia Eagles, who beat us by 5. Now, granted, both games were on the road, but still, we haven't beat a really good team. And we're probably not going to. We're not
We
going to
don't
have we're not even going to have the chance until Seattle.
And
Until
Seattle's
Seattle.
having their issues right now because Gino is not playing well at all right now.
Yeah.
It's a fairly good defense, but with Gino being so far off and their run game's been off, as of right now at this point, I'm not super worried about their offense against our defense. So it may be after that when we finally get to the Bills or
No, well, the Eagles are after Seattle, so it'd
the
be the
Eagles.
Eagles again.
Okay,
It'd
so
be
the
the
Eagles
Eagles again.
again.
So, and that's a stretch where we have 3 straight home games. We go Thanksgiving against Commanders, the following Thursday against Seattle, and then the Eagles at home 10
But
days later.
we get 10 days for them.
10
So
days later.
I'm kind of
and
exactly. I'm kind of happy though that we do have some lesser teams in that stretch that we have Sunday, Thursday.
And it's going to be difficult. And I'm not even kidding you because we're getting a little off topic and going into the future, but because we have those 3 games and then we got the Eagles at home and then we go on the road against the Bills, go on the road against the Dolphins, at home against the Lions, and then of course we finish on the road against the Commanders, which I'm not worried about that game. But that 4 game stretch right there, 2 at home, 2 on the road of Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions, that's going to determine this season. And right now I have a set of B minus, getting back to where were the grades, is because we haven't really beat anybody. We don't have a win against, I don't know if we have a win against a team with a winning record right now. I think the Chargers are now 500. So let's see. The Chargers are now 500. So yeah, we don't really have that big win. We don't have a win against a team with a winning record right now. So it hasn't been great. We've played really good at some points. We've played bad at some points, like really bad against Arizona, really bad against San Francisco. So need to show more. Need to show more. So what are your thoughts? What is your grade?
So until recently, I definitely would have been at about a C plus.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would be sitting at a B minus, but I'm going to go to a B because of one factor alone. I don't know whatever this West Coast offense was they thought they were going to do, and this little dink dunk and run the ball, Texas Coast. I don't know what that is or what. Well, I know what it is. It wasn't working. And guess what? They've abandoned it a lot in my eyes. And we've been passing. And so I don't know who let go of the reins, who said, hey, we're going to do this. Now we're the passing team. That's always been part of our identity. We're going to go back to it. And they've made the change. And we can see the difference. So I gave them a little extra credit for figuring that out.
I agree. And I can agree with that. And I can see that because we have become that team. Like, hey, we made the change. And it's not even just, hey, we're passing more. If you look at the first part of the season, it was a ton of 3-step drops, balls out, 5 yards.
Right.
Dak had the lowest DOT or DOAT, the air travel, the distance of the air travel, the ball to the wide receiver of his career. It was the lowest. I think it's ADOT, sorry. But it is the lowest he's ever had in his entire career in the first few weeks. The last 3 weeks, he's been airing it out. He's been not only been throwing, the last 3 weeks? Been throwing it farther. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's happened the last 3 weeks? Motion. We've had motion. Who would have thought motion would work? And
motion is one of the most beautiful things in this world.
So that's why they get a little more extra credits, because all of a sudden they were like, oh, hey, maybe we should do this.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So no, I can give you there. I can see that argument. Absolutely. Okay, so now let's get into some of our predictions and who we think are going to be the stars of the game. Give me your offensive star of the game.
I have. Oh, so just the stars. We're not doing our bold.
We'll go bold.
Rules.
we'll go bold prediction in a little bit, but let's get the stars first.
All right. Okay, I will do something. Brandon Cooks. It is Brandon Cook's game. They don't have anybody to cover him. They don't have the speed to keep up with him. I could see us using him, now that we don't have Turpin, maybe we do a jet sweep with him. This is Brandon Cooks. Don't forget about me.
The Brandon Cooks game.
Yeah. Yes. Don't forget about me.
Honestly, prior to this week against the Eagles, the 2 weeks prior, he had made some plays. But yeah, he went back to not making any plays last week, really. I think he had 1 or 2 catches. So
yeah, his route running, he's going to tear people apart with that route running.
I think they're going to keep Banks on CeeDee Lamb, and they got nobody else really to match his speed. So you got a point there. I think that's a possibility right there. Man, I've been going back and forth. I don't want to choose him too many times this year, but I think I have to.
Just do it.
It's going to be Ferg.
Nice.
It's going to be Ferg. They don't have the linebackers to play with him. Ferg has been open so much this year. On the fourth, this hurts going back to the Eagles game, but on that 4th down pass to Gallup, where everybody's like, "Why are you going to Gallup? Why are you going to Gallup? You should have went to CeeDee Lamb." No, CeeDee Lamb was bracketed on that play. You should have looked to Ferg because the linebacker got completely lost, and Ferg was streaking down the middle of the field wide open. If Dak just sees him, it's 6. Now, I'm not putting that on Dak. It was a very quick I think in my mind, it was predetermined to go, hey, quick step, go turn right, go to go over there. But Ferg was wide open. I think Ferg continues to get open. He has super reliable hands. He's just been killing teams. So Ferg is going to be my offensive star of the game. Okay, defensive star of the game for you.
All of them. Can I pick all of them? No, I'm gonna.
Who's going to be the star of the stars?
This is Tank's game. Sorry. Yeah, it's so obvious. Though.
It's so obvious.
It's so obvious.
Oh.
I mean,
Tank is gonna feast.
He's just gonna. Oh, it's not gonna be pretty. They have no one that's gonna be able to stop him. And if they pay any attention to Micah, then holy crap, it's gonna be even worse. It's Tank.
It really is. It really is. But I was hoping you would go a different direction. So I'll go a different direction. I'm going to say Osa Digizua.
Nice.
Again, it's this defensive line. It begins and ends with this defensive line.
Right.
They're beasts. They're monsters. They don't have the offensive line to block it. Danny DeVito, I think, is going to be Tommy DeVito. Sorry,
we knew it happened.
Probably
at least
plays
once this
a little
game.
bit like Danny DeVito, but he's going to be under pressure. He's that the outsides Parsons and Tank, as you said, are going to be just destroying him, coming around the edges, which I think is going to force DeVito into the pocket, into the waiting arms of Mr. Odigizua. So give me Odigizua. I think he's going to have a fantastic game blowing up the interior.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. Bell has been absolutely balling. Absolutely
he has.
balling.
And that brings up something that we'll talk about when and if the time arises when LVE comes back.
Mm-hmm.
That they're going to be able to rotate Bell in a whole lot more than they were, and not leaving LVE on the field the whole time. But then I also feel like he may be sharing a whole lot of more snaps with Damone Clark in that situation. So, because we know LVE's leadership and the green dot and all that on the field. So, but yes, absolutely. Totally agree with you. Bell isn't getting enough credit.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go with our bold prediction. You were really excited to get to this one. You wanted to jump it in front of everybody. So let us know, let the world know, Cowboys Nation, what is your bold prediction for this game?
So, and hold on, Falcon, LVE is back because he was signed to a 2-year contract. So we're just going to have that much deeper of a linebacker field or room. So, it's all going to be very much more solid next year. So bold prediction. Ready for this? Because, I am on a streak. CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to be reasonable. CeeDee Lamb, 100 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Cooks, 100 yards.
Okay.
They're both going to tear it up.
It's
just going to be an air raid. You get the ball, you get the ball, you get the ball. There we go. They both get 100 yards.
I like it. I'm going to go, and I'm going to say that we have a 7-sack game on the defense. 7 sacks.
And I'm going to need Osa to say something funny about it. I'm going to need that.
You get a sack.
Yes. I'm going to need that.
Oh, I love this one.
And we know that Deuce is going to he's going to be.
Let me tell you why I love this
just
one.
because of the kickoff.
Let me tell you why I love this one so much. It's because my son is 5 years old, and my son was watching a Cowboys game, and it was in the preseason, and Deuce Vaughn got on the field, and he was in the huddle, and he was standing there. My son was just kind of looking, and then he kind of like cocked his head, and he was like, "Dad, there's a little guy on the field." And I was like, "Yeah, that's Deuce Vaughn." Yeah, and since that time, he just calls him the little guy. So he always asks me, he always watches, "Where's the little guy, Dad? Where's the little guy? I want to see the little guy." So he always asks me about the little guy. And then crazy enough, this morning I was woken up to him running around the house pretending to play football and saying, he was pretending that he was Deuce Vaughn, saying, "Oh, little guy scored a touchdown," like he was. So he loves Deuce Vaughn. So I got to get him a Deuce Vaughn jersey now because
That's cool.
and he doesn't know anything about him other than like, hey, he's a little guy playing on football field, So I like that one. I hope Deuce Vaughn gets a touchdown. My son will go crazy if it does happen.
That's awesome. Good for him.
There we go. I agree. We got I think as he grows, he will be used more. So yeah, I can definitely see that, and I definitely see him molding his career into like a Darren Sproles type of career. Absolutely. So okay, so we got our bold predictions. We got our stars of the game. Game time predictions. What do you got for us?
So it's, I kept talking a good game that they'd get some garbage time points. I'm not even going to give them any. It's a big 0 again. I wore this shirt for a reason. It says crush.
There you go.
Because that's what's going to happen. God. We are going 45-0. It's just 45-0.
That's bold. Cam, that's bold.
What was the last score?
40-0.
Okay.
I know, but do you think
they
that's
have
a little
seven
bit...
guys? They have 7 guys on IR off of the offense.
Do you think that's just a little bit ridiculous? No?
You thought 175 yards for CD last week was a little ridiculous, and guess what happened?
Well, look, I think that Cam is going way out there. I think Cam is going a little bit too far. I'm predicting a 42-0 game. So I don't know where she's getting that extra field goal from. I'm not sure where she's getting that extra field goal from.
Brandon Aubrey needs some love too, damn it.
Brandon Aubrey needs all the love. He needs
all the love. Yes, he
call
does.
1-800-Flowers and send them all to Brandon Aubrey. Because honestly, like in his rookie year, he's making an argument for an all-pro season. Like they're not going to give a kicker rookie of the year, but damn it, give him some consideration.
Yeah,
I like that. That would be nice. Give Dak and the starters some rest. Right. But yeah, 42-0. I think it's another shutout. A little bit worse than the game of week 1. Giants fans cry. It'll be a good week.
Caleb Williams to the Giants.
No, you stop. Michael Penix to the Giants.
No.
I don't know if I told this story to you on the show before, but I got a guy in IT in my office is a big Giants fan. And after week 1, he was talking a lot of trash. And after week 1, I sent him a message on IT. I was like, hey, I got an issue with my computer. I keep getting an error message. It says 40-0. I'm not sure what that means. And he a little bit later, he replied back to me. He's like, you can just go ahead and throw your computer away.
No good.
So hopefully we can have another one of those and, a great weekend. And I could talk a little trash at work.
Right.
No, see, that's what I don't want to happen. That is what I do not want to happen. I do not want to see Caleb Williams be ruined.
And then we have Andrew is one of my people.
There we go. Andrew's
go
there.
Dogs.
Yeah, I think Penix to the Giants or Caleb Williams to the Giants would hurt. Yeah. Not only just like hurt personally seeing them in that jerseys and playing on it, but it would hurt the Cowboys because those are two damn good quarterbacks that I don't want to see on the Giants at all.
I hope they go to lovely AFC teams.
Lovely AFC teams.
Yes.
Keep them out of the NFC as much as you can.
And that goes for Roma Dunze too. And I've got a list. I have a list that I don't want to end up on anywhere in the NFC East at least. So
we got 2 huge blowouts. We're both predicting blowouts. A lot of people believing predicting blowouts. Probably, I'd be surprised if many people are going to predict the Giants to win this game. I think last time I checked, I'll check right now, but last time I checked, it was no lie. The Dallas Cowboys were 16.5-point favorites. They are currently 17-point favorites, which is just wild. That's a huge spread in football.
In the NFL. Yeah, in the
and
NFL,
especially in the NFL. In the NFL, it's a huge spread. 17 points. I think the Cowboys more than cover that. We will have another competition, another score prediction contest on Twitter. I will put that out probably tomorrow, where, you know, I'm going to say, hey, you got to predict the score. You got to predict the score right. You got to predict what the score is going to be and what team's going to win of the Cowboys and Giants game. If you predict that right, you will be getting a free shirt from Twisted Gorilla. Nobody won last week, so we're continuing it on, and we're going to go. Hopefully, someone wins this competition. Cam, you want to tell them about the other competition or contest we got going on?
We do. We need to get this channel up to 1,000 followers, and we are going to randomly pick one of you to get a autographed Michael Gallup jersey. We need you to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, share it with your friends, because we need to get that number up. So,
absolutely.
But it's the nice signed Michael Gallup jersey.
Yeah. So follow me and Cam. Our ats are right this side. Sorry, this side right there on the screens. Just go ahead and follow us on Twitter for information. I'll be putting out the contest. Just make your score prediction, or you can make your score prediction here in the comments. If you're in the comments, just make it in here or on Twitter. Most people do it on Twitter. And just let us know what you think the score is going to be. You get it correct, right team, you're going to win that. You're going to win that competition, as long as it's not multiple people. Multiple people will have a random drawing between the people that predicted it right. But Twisted Gorilla, great company. Check out their website. They have great shirts. They have a couple Jake Ferguson shirts I'm about to get. So, because I'm the president of that fan club. So check them out. And that's it. And go Cowboys. We got one.
All right.
That's a good score too. I like that.
That's fair. He might be a little bit more reasonable than me, but whatever.
So,
well, go ahead, Mess.
No, I was just gonna say, hey, that's it for the show. But go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us on this Friday night, and I hope you all have an amazing weekend. And we both have a little bit stressful games tomorrow.
Yeah. My
Go
team's
ahead.
probably gonna lose tomorrow. All right.
Mine's not.
Yeah.
Mine is not. So
yeah, well, we fired Alex Grinch, so I'm happy. Maybe the defense will be a little bit motivated. So we'll see about that.
So, but yeah, you guys all have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging with us, and go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.